2003 Kawasaki EX250 Ninja. The Mazda MX-5 of sport bikes.
The MX-5 of sport bikes, no. Got me feeling in the zone. But just don't call me a beginner, ginner.
The Ninja 250 is a motorcycle you buy for $1,000 and then sell for $1,000. This is the classic beginner motorcycle. But we're gonna get into the problems that name causes for the Ninja 250. And this is an $800 Ninja 250. It wasn't dropped twice, it was dropped thrice. That means twice on both sides. And it ran into something and broke the front fender, and one exhaust silencer is bent. This is a classic example of what the Ninja 250 looks like after many owners. The turn signals were replaced with those reprehensible flush mounts that are so dim drivers don't notice them, but every rider buys these turn signals when they drop their first bike and break off their stock signals because these eBay flush mounts are cheaper than OEM replacements. The foot shifter is bent, and the levers are from the same eBay seller as the turn signals. And the rear has one of those fender eliminator kits, but it runs like new. Ninja 250s are like Miatas. Abuse them, neglect them, and they don't die. My buddy Ted bought this Ninja 250 from a kid in his early 20s who admitted to dropping it just once. But he dropped it at least 4 times due to all the replacement stuff on these things. But a Ninja 250 can take it right on the chin. It's like Mark Hunt, but without all the swearing on Instagram. If you want to be specific, you'll call this the EX250 because the Ninja name is Kawasaki's catch-all brand for all of their sport bikes. The Ninja 250 being once the smallest. Of course, the 250 is gone now. Now it's the 300, a kind of different bike. But anyway, the Ninja 250 existed for so long, man. It's a parallel twin carbureted engine with full fairing plastic covers. It makes roughly 20 horsepower, although the stock rating is claimed to be around 30 to 35. It offers a 6-speed manual transmission and absolutely no throttle whatsoever in first gear. It's also shockingly quiet, which is kind of crazy when you consider this bike redlines at 14,000 RPM. Yeah, I know it's a 248cc engine, but whatever, 250. And it bugs me to no end when people put sport exhausts on these things. You're doing the bike zero favors if you put a sports... Unless you're putting big carburetors on this thing, there's no reason to have anything but the stock pipes on it. Ugh. Anyway, you see with the Ninja 250, Kawasaki got cute with it. The cylinder compression ratio, rear sprocket, ignition timing advance were increased while the carburetor diameter was decreased to create engine revs higher and to get the red line faster. Why? Because when you turn 18, Grandma starts giving you $20 to PBS instead of Christmas cards to you. This is a liquid-cooled bike, and it has a temperature gauge, whereas most beginner bikes don't. I mean, it makes sense that you'd want a temperature gauge with a liquid-cooled engine, but it's different enough on a bike like this to almost feel like a feature in and of itself. On the subject of features, there's no real storage room here, but the bike does offer luggage hooks, which is a nice feature. It's got twin piston front and rear brakes, and it can get from 0 to 60 in about 5.7 seconds. But then none of these things are likely to tip the scales if you're on the fence about buying one of these. I mean, if you're going to get a Ninja 250, you've probably made your mind up before ever watching a video like this. And telling you about random technical mishaps probably won't change your mind because the novelty, affordability, and durability of a bike like this outweighs the innate human desire to have something that's going, down the road that's going to turn heads, because a Ninja 250 doesn't do that. A Ninja 250 doesn't turn heads any more than a checkered jacket with shoulder pads would have in the 1980s. From a design standpoint, the Ninja 250 is a bike that basically got fired in 1989, but kept coming to work hoping no one would notice. It's the George Costanza of two-wheeled conveyances. You're gonna modify it, aren't you? Well, fine. Modify a Ninja 250 all you want, but the top speed of about 115 miles an hour will never change. How fast does your first bike need to go? Oh, I can hear you now. I'm no beginner. John Jones was set up. I want a bike that I can grow into. Nah, man, I ride better when I'm drunk. I ride 450 dirt bikes. I'm experienced.
I want a bike that can keep up with my new tank top friends I just met at Buffalo Wild Wings. I want a bike I could grow into. I like craft beer. I like Blue Moon. My adjective for good is diesel. I'm gonna get a ZX1000. This edible ain't shit.
A Ninja 250 is one of the few bikes that teaches you about riding a motorcycle, and that's something your basic bro can't stand. A basic bro never wants to be novice. He's got to come in. You put him on a snowboard, he'll go down an intermediate slope the first time. A Ninja 250 lets you feel how freaking fast 60 miles an hour really is. Because when you ride one of these things, you are almost tucked over the front wheel. This bike is so small. And that's another thing that's good about it. It teaches you how fragile this soft, mushy pit of farts and internal organs and pus and jizz and blood is in the world of mechanics as you're down the highway. Well, let's be honest, it's more like zzz down the highway on a 250 Ninja. Very maneuverable it is. Lightness, smallness. And also, you can go full throttle on a bike like this and not frickin' speed wobble yourself into a guardrail. You get to experience all of the emotions of sport bike riding without dying. Because you'll be having your panic stops at 65 miles an hour rather than 120. I'm sure you'll try to wheelie this thing, but you'll wheelie it at 10 miles an hour instead of 100. You'll drop the bike and you won't care because it cost you $1,000 instead of $10,000. And go on Bike Bandit, all the prices are cheap. You'll learn how to change your own oil, how to change your own spark plugs. It has a center stand, which allows you to remove the rear wheel and take it to the shop and get the nice price. They're like, oh, thank you. You brought me a wheel instead of bringing me the whole bike and expecting me to take this thing off. You'll learn how to align a rear wheel, how to change a chain. And if you're going to mess with the rear gearing, I suppose you can... farted again. You'll be able to change the sprockets and learn what gearing does. And you'll be getting 70 miles to the gallon. It is difficult to ride if you've got fat feet like me.
Oh, yeah, no, that's my excuse. I wear boots all the time. I'm not gonna...
Yeah, that's gonna be your excuse, isn't it? But look, I can ride it, and I am riding it. Totally doable. And it happily revs all day. This bike doesn't care at what revolutions it sits. It'll spin at 9,000 RPM just going down the highway. No problem whatsoever. It's a gem of an engine. And the great thing is when you're done with it, you'll break even when you sell it. There's always Ninja 250s for sale, and there's always people lining up to buy them. I don't know which is the better beginner motorcycle, this or the Honda Rebel / Nighthawk. I mean, this is faster than a Rebel 250 or a Nighthawk, but it is a little bit smaller. And to all you insecure males out there who don't want to learn how to ride a motorcycle on a Ninja 250, remember this. When you're on the road, no one notices. It's just a sport bike. The only people that make fun of Ninja 250s are people who bought 600s as their first bike and are proud of that for some inane reason. And you shouldn't be hanging with that tank top crowd anyway. Plus, when you get your first bike, everything feels fast. Believe me, with a Ninja 250, there's plenty to grow into, and it happens in the twisties. You can lean these bikes right over, go scrape the pegs. It's fun. The first 3 years of learning to ride a motorcycle are critical, and those first 2 years should be on a Ninja 250 because motorcycling changes drastically as the seasons change. You'll be able to feel how the road surface feels different as it gets hotter and colder outside. You don't quite feel that on a large motorcycle, but you feel it on a tiny one. Your senses are going to be sharper. This is the motorcycle for grinding, and this is the motorcycle for leveling up. So if you passed the parent hurdle, go look at Ninja 250s. They seriously are the Miatas of motorcycles. Check one out.
The MX5 of sport bikes known got me feeling in the zone. But just don't call me a beginner, beginner. I ride them just to be alone and not double like your chromosomes. I'm better now, but what is better?